always been drawn to the unknown, but nothing could have prepared me for what I encountered at the old house on Elm Street. My name is Alex, and this is my story. It all started one chilly autumn evening. My friends and I were gathered around a bonfire, sharing ghost stories, when someone mentioned the abandoned house on Elm Street. According to the tales, it had been deserted for decades, and eerie lights were said to flicker in the windows at night. Curiosity piqued. I decided to investigate. The next night, armed with nothing but a flashlight and my determination, I set out for the house. As I walked down the deserted street, the cold wind whispered through the trees, sending shivers down my spine. When I reached the house, it looked even more foreboding than I had imagined. Its paint was peeling, and the windows were dark and vacant, like empty eyes staring into my soul. Taking a deep breath, I pushed open the creaking gate and walked up the overgrown path to the front door. It was unlocked, and with a hesitant push, it swung open with a loud groan. I stepped inside, my flashlight cutting through the thick darkness. The air inside was stale and cold. The floors creaked under my feet as I moved cautiously through the hallway. Cobwebs hung like ghostly veils in the corners, and the walls were lined with faded, peeling wallpaper. Each step I took echoed through the empty house, making it feel like the shadows were closing in on me. I entered the living room, where an old, dusty chandelier hung from the ceiling. The furniture was covered in white sheets, giving the room an eerie, ghostly appearance. As I walked further in, I heard a faint whisper. "Who's there?" I called out, my voice trembling. There was no reply, only the whispering sound growing louder. I shone my flashlight around the room, but there was nothing to be seen. Determined to find the source, I followed the sound down a narrow hallway. At the end of the hallway, I found a staircase leading to the upper floor. The whispering grew louder as I ascended the stairs, each step creaking ominously. When I reached the top, I was greeted by a long corridor lined with closed doors. The whispering seemed to be coming from behind the last door on the right. With my heart pounding in my chest, I approached the door. My hand trembled as I reached for the doorknob and turned it slowly. The door creaked open to reveal a small, dusty bedroom. In the center of the room was an old rocking chair, moving back and forth as if someone had just been sitting in it. I took a step inside, and the whispering stopped abruptly. The silence was deafening. I scanned the room with my flashlight, but there was no sign of anyone. Just as I was about to leave, the door slammed shut behind me. Panic set in as I realized I was trapped. Suddenly, the room grew colder, and I could see my breath forming in the air. The rocking chair began to move again, this time faster and more violently. The whispering returned, louder and more urgent, and I could make out words now. "Leave. Now." I fumbled with the doorknob, desperate to escape, but it wouldn't budge. The walls seemed to close in on me, and I felt a presence in the room, something unseen but undeniably there. My flashlight flickered and then went out, plunging me into complete darkness. In the pitch black, I could feel something cold and clammy brush against my arm. I let out a scream and pounded on the door with all my strength. Finally, it flew open, and I stumbled out into the hallway. I didn't look back as I ran down the stairs and out of the house. Once outside, I kept running until I was safely back at home. My friends were waiting for me, their faces filled with worry. I told them what had happened, and we all agreed that none of us would ever go near that house again. To this day, I still hear the whispers in my dreams, and I can't shake the feeling that something followed me from that house. Elm Street is quiet now, but the old house still stands, its dark windows watching, waiting for the next curious soul to wander inside. If you ever find yourself in my town, heed my warning. Stay away from the house on Elm Street. Some secrets are better left undisturbed.